Hello, algebra. Let's look at lesson 2.5, solving compound inequalities. So our learning target is how do I write and solve and graph compound inequalities? So let's just take a look at the top part here. In fact, I'm going to kind of draw a nice line right here. That way you know that it's kind of two different problems, all right? We're just going to look at the top one for now. So the first one, all real numbers that are greater than or equal to 2. We want to write that as an algebra statement, all right? And you guys already know about this greater than or equal to symbol, right? We can translate that. So when it says all real numbers, that is our variable, right? That's our variable. That's x. I'm just going to stick with x in this case. Greater than or equal to is this guy right here. So this is our x, and this is our symbol. And then to 2. 2 is the number that we care about. And we know how to graph it. Here is my graph. I do an open dot. Do I fill it in? Yes, I do. And then I need to decide which way I am shading. Which side is the greater side? 3. 3 is the greater side. So I shade it like that. The next one says all real numbers, x again, that are less than 5. Less than 5 in this case. So a less than symbols like this. And then here is our 5. And we know how to graph that as well. So here's our 5. There's 4. There's 6. I need to do an open dot. Do I fill it in? No. And I need to shade to the less than side, which is this direction. So when we do a compound inequality, I'm doing both of those things. All right, I'm doing both those things. So let's just start by writing down our variable, in this case, our x. All right, now we want all real numbers that are greater than or equal to 2. Greater than or equal to 2. Well, we know what that looks like. That looks like this, right? X is greater than or equal to 2. And we want them to be less than 5. Less than 5. So another way of rewriting this would be to have 2 less than or equal to x, right? So really when I write a compound inequality, it's like I've kind of smushed both of these together. So I'm saying both of them, right? I'm saying that 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 5. Or I'm saying that we have all real numbers that are between 2 and 5. There's lots of different ways of saying it, but I want you to see what that means. And now let's take a look at what that graph is going to be. How do we graph that? So I'm going to start down here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Sorry, that was really weird. I'm going to start with my open dot at 2, right? Do I fill it in? Does it have an equal to? Yes, I filled in. And then, which direction am I shading? I'm shading to where x is greater. Be careful. This one up here points the direction it's shading, not this one. So this one actually points us to the greater side, which is to the right. So this is the direction I'm going to shade. Now we also have to do the 5. Well, the 5 has an open dot. Do I fill it in? No. And I need to shade to the left. So that's what it looks like. This has an and to it. I cannot stress that enough. So this compound inequality is an and inequality. It's where they overlap, all right? It'd be like saying me and my husband. It's where they overlap. It's where we meet, so to speak. Let's take a look at the next one. This is all real numbers that are less than or equal to -2. So less than or equal to 2. So for this one, I'm going to start with my x again. And I want to do a less than or equal to symbol, which is this guy. And now we have a -2. -2. So I just translated it, right? Just translate it. Now I'm going to go over here to my number line. I've got my -2 there. There's -3. There's -1. I do an open dot. Do I fill it in? Yes. And then I need to shade to the left, to the less than side. For our next one here, we have all real numbers, in this case my x, that are greater than 1. right? Greater than 1. So I want to do a greater than symbol. And now when I go to graph that, there's my 1, here's 0, here's 2. I do an open, do I fill it in? No. And I am shading to my greater than sign. So now let's do a compound inequality of both of those. All right, so all real numbers that are less than or equal to 2 or greater than 1. I want to do both of those things at the same time. So again, I'm going to write down my x first. All right, and we want to have it so that it is less than or equal to 2. Less than or equal to, negative 2. And we need to have an or in here. Ooh, I wrote that in a really weird way. Sorry, guys. X less than or equal to negative 2. Or x greater than 1. When it has an or, we put it in there, okay? We can do the same thing with this guy up here. So it could have been x is greater than or equal to 2 and x is less than 5. That works as well. But the difference here is that in and we can shorten. And when we get to domains and ranges later on, this will become really important. But you can write it as an and, or you can write it as a compound together. Ors you cannot. There's no shorthand for an or. All right, no shorthand. So when I go to graph this, we've got negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. Let's start with our negative 2. I do an open. Do I fill it in? Yes, I fill it in. And then I am shading to the left, so like this. And then for my or, I'm starting with an open. Do I fill it in? No. And I need to shade to the right. So I want you guys to practice writing these down here. All right. We're going to do one more. We'll do 2 more together. Okay, we'll do 2 more together because this is kind of weird. So our first one, a number x is greater than negative 8 and less than, so I need to do another x, right? Here's my and. X less than or equal to 4. I can rewrite this so I have x in the middle. And I would say that x is less than or equal to 4. In this case, it's greater than, right? So greater than negative 8. So that's how you could rewrite it. If you write it this way, perfectly true. Perfectly true. So here is my graph. I've got negative 8, negative 4, 0, 4, and 8. Because I'm feeling a little lazy. So I do an open dot here. I want to shade to the greater side. And I've got a closed dot here. And I want to shade to the left side. So that's what my compound inequality looks like when I graph it. All right, let's check out the next one. A number y is at most 0 or at least 2. So y is at most, that means it is less than or equal to 0. Or y is greater than or equal, at least, right? At least 2. So that means it's greater than or equal to 2. So when I go to graph it, no way to shorten that. I've got 0, 1, 2 here. Negative 1 and a 3 just for good measure. I do an open dot at 0 to start. Do I close it in? Yes, I am shading to the left side, which is towards negatives. Or we have a y, start with an open dot at 2. Do I close it in? Yes, and then I'm shading to the right. All right, there are 4 more on this page. I want you to try them out and check my notes for answers. Try them out first, because it's the best way to learn.